little brother. You always say never turn your back on family, but you turned your back on me. Now your little family is in my world.
Hey, I'm Nick, and I'm here with John Cena from F9. How's it going today?
It's very well, Nick. Thank you for asking.
Now, obviously, you've joined this huge franchise. With a role like that, is it something you kind of go after, you kind of pitch for, or were you approached about joining the franchise?
I certainly was approached. I wouldn't even know how to go after something like that. This is all really mythical. Yeah, I just, for one reason or another, Vin wanted to get together and talk, and after a lengthy conversation, I kind of got an invite to the Fast family. So it was not, I mean, of course it would be something I'd want to do, but I guess the question is like, well, how would I even go about it? So it's something that was offered to me.
When you met with Vin, did you know it was about this, or did he not say why he?
No, he never once said, and I loved our time together. I was hanging out with Vin Diesel. It was really cool, and amazingly enough, you can tell I'm not full of BS because he took a social media video at the end, and he turns the camera on me, and I look like a deer in headlights. I have no idea what's going on. You know, I'm in my suit. I went to meet him at his training center, and I was in business in LA, and you know, we got together and talked, and then at the end he films this video, and I'm like, hey everybody. I didn't, and I left being like, man, I just kind of hung out with Vin Diesel for a few hours. That's awesome, and just left, and I thought that was the end of it.
And I mean, your character is completely integral to the film. Like, how would you describe Jacob? What are his motivations, and what's he doing in this world?
So to craft a good villain, you need to believe that their intentions are true, and that the villain is right and the world is wrong. But in reality, a good villain, the world sees them as wrong. You know, that what they're doing is unjust. So his motives have to come from a sense of truth, and certainly revenge has a little bit to play, but so do a lot of other human emotions. And I love the fact that you haven't seen Jacob until now, because if you follow the mythology, it's really cool in a sense of storytelling where Dom as a father now has to face his biggest regret in the past, which is essentially his own blood family. He's always been about family, but family aren't those who share the last name Toretto. So it's a really cool culmination of the 8 installments. But if you're sitting down to enjoy F9 as just a movie, you don't need to be clued into that information. Jacob is still a good villain with evil intentions. He's flawed, and he's searching for vindication.
Is it quite surreal shooting a scene where Charlize Theron's in a glass box in front of you?
Dude, like, that's a day where you realize, you know, there's a quote that says, no matter how proficient you are, there's always someone out there that can make you look incompetent. And that is that day. And in the best of ways. There's one way to look at it, like, oh, I suck, I'm never gonna be this. Or I can learn so much from this right now. She made me better. And I'm so lucky to just have those moments. She is effing brilliant, just brilliant. And being able, like, when you perform with somebody like that, she's good, so you by proxy look good, but then if you just pay attention and allow yourself to be there, you can learn and become better. Man, I was like, what are we talking about? All this stuff is so surreal, you know, you're right, it's what a day at the office.
What is the most challenging aspect of making a film like this? Because there's so much stuff happening technically, but also you've got the emotional beats in the story. Like, it feels like you've probably got to use a lot of different skills.
No, I think the ability to streamline it, and because the scope is so massive, don't worry about everything. If we're doing a 12-piece stunt, worry about your piece. And if we're doing a massive dramatic sequence that it's a mansion and people everywhere or whatever, worry about your piece. Don't worry if they get it all. That's Justin's job. And I think being able to compartmentalize and focus on what you're capable of fixing or what you're capable of doing is very important when you get such a grand scope like Fast. But man, I think the toughest thing was just living up to expectations. This is a $6 billion success of a franchise across the world. Like, I get to jump on that ride. I better deliver. You know, that was the biggest thing for me.
Did it feel a little like being like the new kid at school?
Yeah. It would be less like being the new kid at school. and more like being the new player on a championship team. But that team has also been the same team for 20 years. So like that's it. It's not like being the new kid at school. It's like walking into that locker room of a championship organization where they haven't changed players in 20 years. And everybody's like, you know, like it's the expectations are there to deliver. And you better go out on the field and do something of value.
Wow. Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers.